The movie begins when a man named Zach wakes up alone in a large room. He wakes up and drinks water. The environment is unusually quiet, but he tries to turn on the radio without paying attention to things. He can't find any radio stations. He calls the front desk, but no one picks up. Zach drives his car and stops for gas at a service station that looks empty. He looks in the workshop and all around the building, but he can't find anyone. In the kitchen, the electric kettle is almost empty. The bathroom door is locked, but nobody is inside. He drives down the quiet street, honking his horn, but there is no one around. He pauses at a house and takes a look inside. He breaks the glass in the back door to enter, but the house is empty. It's like everyone has just gone away. As he drives on the highway, he nearly crashes into a leftover big truck. He uses the truck's radio to call, but no one answers. He drives into the city, but again, he sees no one around. Zach drives to the satellite research station where he works, but it looks empty again. He turns on the computer to reach out to other research stations around the world, but none of them answer. He takes a paper from the printer that says to keep working on Project Flashlight as planned. He goes down to the lower level and sees another computer that shows Operation Flashlight complete. Zach enters the control room and sees a person named Perrin. When he turns the chair around, he realizes that Perrin is dead, with big, staring eyes and burned hands. A warning says there is radiation danger in the lab, so it will be closed off. Zach runs to the elevator, but he arrives too late. It's shut. He has an idea. He discovers a gas stove and some big tanks of gas that can catch fire. He turns on the burner and the gas, then hides. Zach discovers a recorder with a voice saying that some information about Operation Flashlight has been kept secret. He is making a recording of himself saying that he thinks he might be the last person alive on Earth. Before he can finish recording, the gas bottles explode, causing a lot of damage. He finds a way out and climbs up from under the building. Next, we see Zach writing his name, address, and phone number on a big sign. He did this probably because he wanted to find him if there was anyone alive. Then he sits at home waiting, but nobody calls him. He decides to look for a nicer place to live. The next morning, Zach wakes up in a big, nice house in a fancy part of the city, while he drinks his champagne and eats an egg for breakfast. Next, we see him playing snooker and acting like he's competing with another player. In the bedroom, he begins to daydream and puts on some women's clothes. Now Zach begins to get confused and thinks someone is chasing him. He stands on the top balcony and acts like he is the president of the world. The next morning, Zach is walking around in a big football stadium, wearing women's underwear. Then he runs into a church with a shotgun, searching for someone, possibly God. Next, we see Zach swimming at the ocean. Then he cleans himself up. Now we see Zach in a new house by the ocean. He looks at the computer to see the chemicals and the state of the outside surroundings. Suddenly, he hears a sound and turns to see a girl in the doorway holding a gun aimed at him. Joan says it's not real. Then she comes in, and they hug each other, both really happy to see another person. They sit and share stories about when they first noticed that everyone was gone. The next morning, they pack the utility truck and chat lightly. Joan drives because Zach has a headache from drinking too much champagne last night. They come across an accident where a man has gone through the front window of his car and a woman has died while trying to call for help on a radio. Both are gone. They stay at a roadside hotel for the night. While Zach is making dinner, they talk about the chance of finding other people who are still alive. The next morning, Zach wakes up in a motel room to the sound of the phone ringing. Joan is acting like the receptionist. She opens the door and presents Zach with breakfast to savor while lying in bed. It seems like they slept together last night. Later, they both drive around searching for people again. While Joan is exploring a hospital, Zach is sitting in his car and writing down some notes about changes in the universe. As Zach drives to see Joan, he comes across some blocked roads. As he backs out of a lane, a truck comes out and blocks his path. As he gets a better look, a man wearing a baklava and holding a gun jumps out and grabs him. Zach says he is by himself, but then Joan calls on the radio and the man named AP figures out that Zach was not telling the truth. They go together to look for Joan. As Zach goes to meet Joan, Appy hides behind a pole but then comes out to say hello. When Appy sees that they are not a danger, he goes over to them and they hug. Now we see them happily driving down the road together. That night, they sat around a fire and Appy told Zach and Joan about a fight he had with his friend. He said that during the fight, he felt like he left his body and watched it from above. He was moving toward a light, but then he woke up and realized his friend was missing. Joan says she went through something like that too. Zach remembers waking up in bed and he thinks he might have taken too many pills. Each of them almost died when the event happened that made everyone else vanish. Later, they discover a big room. Abby plays the piano while Zach and Joan dance. They go to sleep, but Joan wakes up and sees that Abby is not in his bed. She takes a walk and sees him praying at a grave nearby, so she gets back into bed. The next morning, Zach is looking at how the sun moves and thinks it might collapse soon. At the same time, Joan and Appy are running. Joan is sharing her ideas about friendship with Appy. Then she asks him why his friend tried to hurt him. Appy tells her that he did it because he had hurt his friend's wife. She asks him why he did it, and he says it had to be done. Now she sees him in a new way. Now we see Zach packing the truck to go. He tries to explain things to Joan, but she is still angry about Appy. Zach and Appy argue about who is in charge, so Zach gets in the truck and drives away. Appy follows him in another truck. Then Joan drives a smaller car behind them. While they are driving, Appy listens to Zach's recording about the sun's changes. Appy drives Zach off the road, and Joan takes a gun from Appy's truck and shoots it in the air to stop the fight. Zach tells Appy he felt something was wrong with Operation Flashlight. Appy understands that Zach tried to take his own life. As the three of them drive down the road, Zach says that the Americans didn't share important information about the project. Appy lacks trust in Zach due to his failure to inform both him and Joan about the impending danger. We see Zach in a place, looking at information on a computer. He tells Joan that he thinks the same thing will happen again tomorrow at 6 in the morning. Suddenly, something odd occurs, and Joan can't find Zach or Appy. They've both gone missing. After a little while, everything goes back to normal. Appy has an idea. Now we see them blowing the door off a big shed. Inside the shed, they find many boxes of gelignite, so they put them onto a truck. That night, they went to the satellite research station by car. While they are driving, Joan explains to Zach the real story about Appy's friend. His friend's wife loved Appy, but he turned her down, so she took her own life. Appy's friend said that Appy caused her death. They reach a fuel truck blocking the road, but Appy moves it aside, and then they keep going. As they get nearer, Zach's tools indicate that the research station is acting like a microwave. If the truck carrying explosives gets too close, it might blow up too early. They ride in a small truck to a little watchtower near the research station. Zach says he has tools in the city that can drive the truck with a remote. He leaves by himself, leaving Joan and Appy in the watchtower. At that moment, they hear the truck coming. They go outside to see Zach driving the truck to the research station. As Zach gets nearer, the ground breaks and the truck cabin drops into the building. Zach grabs the starting button and sets off the explosives. The research station is broken, and it seems like the same thing is happening again. Finally, the film ends with Zach waking up from a coma and walking alone along a large beach. The movie ends here. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you.